Welcome back to the channel, dear friends. I'm honored and humbled to have you here again, walking this path together. Whether you've been practicing for decades or just taking your first steps, this space is for you. A space to drop the masks, leave the labels, and return to what truly matters, not the words we say about practice, but the life we live through it. Today we're exploring something that strikes a deep chord in many spiritual circles, the tendency to wear years of practice as a badge of honor. In countless conversations, communities, and teachings, we hear people say, "I've been meditating for 20 years, or I've read every sacred text, or I attend every retreat." And while longevity can be a beautiful sign of commitment, it does not necessarily indicate transformation. Time alone does not awaken us. The ego can hide behind decades of practice just as easily as it can behind material success. So the question we must ask ourselves is this: are we truly living what we've learned? Or are we just performing the appearance of spiritual maturity? It's not how long you've practiced. It's how deeply. It's not how much you know. It's how you show up in moments of pressure, in conflict, in discomfort. It's who you are when no one is watching. That is the real measure of progress. Let me be very honest with you. The spiritual path can become a performance. It can become a role we play to feel superior, to gain recognition, to avoid vulnerability. We start quoting scriptures not because they've changed us, but because they make us look wise. We attend gatherings not because we crave truth, but because we crave belonging. We speak of compassion, but inside, we still carry sharp judgments. And the more we talk about practice without embodying it, the more distant we become from the very liberation we seek. There's a famous story about a man who claimed to be a devoted practitioner. He had practiced for many years, attended hundreds of teachings, and could quote sacred texts flawlessly. But he was impatient, easily angered, and harsh with those around him. One day, a stranger visited the community. The stranger had never read a single sutra. He didn't know the proper chants, but his presence radiated peace. He listened deeply. He smiled gently. He moved with grace. The community soon realized one had studied the path, the other had become it. And that's the difference. Real practice does not need to advertise itself. Real humility doesn't say, "I've been practicing longer than you." Real wisdom doesn't need to win debates. Real compassion doesn't announce itself. It simply acts. It simply is. We live in a time where spiritual identity is easily marketed. You can find people with beautiful altars, adorned in robes, speaking all the right words, yet still enslaved by anger, greed, and ego. This is not to judge them. It's to recognize a pattern in ourselves, because every one of us is vulnerable to this trap. We mistake form for substance. We think because we chant mantras or burn incense or memorize texts, we've done the work, but the work is deeper. The work is internal. The work is invisible. The real work is when someone insults you and you respond with patience. When someone betrays you and you choose forgiveness. When things fall apart and you remain centered. These moments cannot be faked. They are the fruit of real transformation, and they don't come from years on a calendar. They come from honesty, from struggle, from falling and rising again and again. So the next time you're tempted to mention how long you've practiced, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove? What part of me needs validation? Because the truth is, the soul doesn't care how many years you've practiced. It cares how sincere you've been. It cares how much love you've cultivated, how much fear you've faced, how much ego you've dropped. The old masters didn't boast. They didn't advertise their enlightenment. Many of them lived quietly, in caves or forests, far from applause. Their presence was their teaching. Their life was their scripture. And in that, we find a profound lesson. You don't have to prove your spirituality. You just have to live it. You don't have to convince anyone. You just have to be authentic. You don't have to be loud. You just have to be real. Let's explore what that looks like in everyday life. It means listening more than speaking. It means choosing kindness when it's hard. It means admitting when you're wrong. It means staying humble, even when praised. It means letting go of being spiritual and becoming human, raw, imperfect, and present. There is so much pressure today to perform, to show your practice, to prove your progress. But the most profound breakthroughs often happen in silence. When you meditate and nothing special happens, but you keep sitting anyway. When you feel lost, but you don't give up. When no one sees your effort, but you continue. That is real devotion. Because it's not about being seen. It's about being true. And being true is not a performance. It's a surrender. It's waking up each day and asking, how can I live with integrity? How can I embody what I claim to believe? That's what counts. Not how many retreats you've attended. Not how many follows you have. Not how many mantras you chant. But whether, when life gets hard, you love anyway. When you're misunderstood, you stay kind. When you're tired, you keep going. And when you fall, you rise with humility. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew. She never spoke about her practice. She never quoted scriptures. But every time someone was in pain, she showed up. Every time someone was angry, she listened. Every time conflict arose, she brought peace. People thought she wasn't advanced because she didn't speak the language of spirituality, but she was one of the most awakened beings I've ever met. Her life was her temple. Her heart was her mantra. This is the kind of practitioner the world needs. Not more performers, not more talkers, but silent warriors of the heart. So if you've been practicing for years, honor your commitment, but ask yourself, have those years softened you? Made you more open, more compassionate, more real? If the answer is yes, beautiful. Keep going. If the answer is no, it's not too late to begin again. Because practice isn't about the past, it's about now. You could have chanted for 30 years and still not understand love. You could have never heard a teaching and still embody truth. What matters is not your history, but your presence. So drop the story, drop the pride, drop the performance, and just practice. Practice in the kitchen, in traffic, in arguments, in grief, in joy, in silence. Let your life be your testimony. Let your humility be your power. Let your presence be your teaching. Thank you for being here with me today. If this message touched something deep in you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share your story, not to impress, but to inspire. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you'd like to keep walking this journey with us. And always remember, real practice is not about what you say. It's about who you are when you think no one is watching. Thank you for watching this video.